get ready because today we're going to do a deep dive on something super interesting.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
English idioms.
Cool.
You know, all those phrases where if you just looked at the words, it doesn't really make sense what it means.
Right.
And I think we've got like 20 of them to go through today.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah.
But I think people are going to learn a lot from this.
So to kick things off, let's start with spill the beans.
Okay, so spill the beans means to reveal a secret.
Yeah, so like someone was trying to keep a surprise party a secret.
Right.
But then someone accidentally told everyone about it on social media.
Oh, that's too bad.
Oops.
All right, next up we have hit the sack.
Oh, that's a good one.
So if you're tired at the end of the day, maybe you've had a long day at work,
Yeah,
you hit the sack.
which just means you go to bed.
Right.
Okay, so next up we have under the weather.
Okay.
So maybe you have a cold and you haven't been feeling well all week.
Right.
And you're under the weather.
It's a good way to say that you're sick.
Yeah. Okay, the next idiom we have is break a leg.
Oh, this one's always so funny.
Yeah.
Because obviously you don't literally want someone to break their leg.
Right.
But this is a way of saying good luck.
Yeah.
Usually if someone's about to perform on stage or something like that.
Exactly.
Okay, so next up we have piece of cake.
Piece of cake.
So if something's a piece of cake, it means it's really easy.
Very easy.
Easy peasy.
Yes.
All right, now on the other side of the spectrum,
Okay.
we have something that costs an arm and a leg.
Ooh. Yeah, I don't like when things cost an arm and a leg.
Yeah, me neither.
It means it's super expensive.
Like way too much money.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Okay, so next we have let the cat out of the bag.
Ooh, I like this one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So going back to that surprise party,
Mm-hmm.
if someone let the cat out of the bag,
Yeah,
they revealed the secret.
they did.
They told everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we've got hit the books.
Hit the books.
So, especially if you're a student.
And you've got a big exam coming up. You got to hit the books.
Exactly.
You're going to study.
That's right.
All right, next up we have bite off more than you can chew.
Oh, yeah, I've done that before.
Yeah, me too.
So maybe you were really ambitious and volunteered to do a bunch of different projects, and then
Yeah.
you realize
Come on.
it's too much.
You can't do all this.
Yeah, you bit off more than you can chew.
Right.
Okay, next up we have break the ice.
Okay.
So maybe you're at a party,
Mhm.
and things are a little awkward.
Nobody's talking.
No, nobody's talking.
And it's silent.
You need to do something to make people feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
So you break the ice.
You start up a conversation.
Exactly.
Okay, the next idiom we have is call it a day.
Call it a day.
So maybe you've been working on a project all day,
Mm-hmm.
you've made a lot of progress,
Yeah.
and you're feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah.
It's time to call it a day.
You're done for now.
Go home.
Exactly.
Relax.
All right, up next is burn the midnight oil.
Oh, yeah.
I used to do this all the time in college.
Yeah, me too.
So if you're working late into the night,
Yeah.
you are burning the midnight oil.
Especially if you have a deadline coming up.
That's right.
Okay, now for this next one, imagine someone can't decide what they want to do.
Oh, yeah, I know a few people like that.
Yeah, me too.
They're sitting on the fence.
Yeah.
They just can't decide.
Make a decision.
Yeah.
Okay, so for this next one, imagine you're trying to understand a really complicated idea.
Mm.
You're trying to wrap your head around it.
Oh, yeah,
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's a challenge.
definitely.
So for this next idiom, imagine a group of people are working together
Oh, okay.
and they all understand the plan. They're all on the same page.
Yeah.
They all agree.
I do.
Okay, next we have cut corners.
Cut corners.
So this means you're not doing something the proper way.
Yeah, you're trying to take a shortcut,
Right.
but it might not turn out so well in the end.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, next idiom we have is blow off some steam.
Ooh, I like this one.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling stressed, you need to blow off some steam.
Yeah, find a way to relax.
Maybe go for a run
Yeah.
or watch a movie.
Or do something fun.
Right.
Okay, up next is hit the nail on the head.
Hit the nail on the head.
So this means you're exactly right about something.
Yeah, perfect.
You said it perfectly.
Right.
Okay, last one for today.
Okay.
Keep an eye on.
So maybe you're at a cafe
Yeah.
and you ask your friend to watch your stuff while you go to the restroom.
Right.
You're asking them to keep an eye on it,
Exactly.
make sure nobody takes it.
That's right.
All right, so we just went through a whole bunch of idioms.
We did.
A lot of them.
It was a lot.
But it's just so interesting how these phrases,
Yeah.
they add so much personality to the language.
I know, right? So much more interesting than just saying the literal meaning.
Exactly.
Welcome back to our deep dive into idioms. Okay, so we just went through a whole bunch of idioms, learned what they mean,
Yeah,
but how do we actually use them in real life?
that's a great question.
Mm,
So, first of all, I think it's really important to think about the context.
context.
Yeah, like where are you? Who are you talking to?
Okay, so like you wouldn't use slang with your boss.
Right,
You
exactly.
got to be appropriate.
Yeah, you want to make sure that the idiom you're using actually makes sense in that situation.
So tip number one, think about the context.
Yes, and another thing is pay attention to how other people use idioms.
Oh yeah, like watch movies, listen to podcasts,
Oh.
observe, be like a detective.
Be a detective, exactly.
Then once you've observed, then what?
Then you just got to try it out.
Just go for it.
Yeah, don't be afraid to make mistakes.
But don't use all 20 at once.
No, definitely not.
That would be overwhelming.
Pick one or two that you really like.
Yeah, the ones that stood out to you.
Right, and practice those.
Okay, so context, observation, practice.
Yes.
What else?
Well, another important thing to think about is cultural differences,
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
because an idiom that might be perfectly normal in one culture
Yeah.
could be really confusing or even offensive in another culture.
So if you're talking to someone from a different country,
Yeah.
you got to be extra careful.
Exactly. Do your research.
And speaking of being careful, can you use idioms in formal settings?
That's a good question.
Like, what about if you're writing an academic paper?
I would say probably not.
Yeah, probably too casual.
Yeah, stick to more formal language.
But if you're just talking to friends
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
writing an email,
then go for it.
yeah, idioms can make your writing more interesting.
Exactly.
It's like adding some spice.
Yes, and they can also make your stories more vivid.
Oh, yeah, give me an example.
Okay, so instead of saying he was really angry, you could say he was seeing red.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's much more impactful.
So we've talked about context, observation, practice, cultural differences, and formal versus informal settings. Anything else we need to know?
Yes, one last thing.
Okay.
Pay attention to pronunciation,
Oh, yeah.
because if you mispronounce an idiom,
It's not going to sound right.
no, it'll sound awkward.
So listen to how native speakers pronounce them.
Yes, and practice saying them yourself.
All right. So those are our tips for using idioms.
Yes, hopefully that was helpful.
It was for me, for sure.
Now, I'm curious, which of these idioms have you already used before?
That's a tough one.
I know, right? There are so many.
Well, I definitely use piece of cake a lot
Yeah, that's a classic.
and break a leg.
Oh, good one.
But I'm going to try to use some of the other ones too.
Yeah, me too.
I think it'll make my conversations more interesting.
I agree. I think it'll make you sound more fluent and confident.
Well, this has been really fun.
It has.
But now I'm curious about something else.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
You mentioned that idioms reflect cultural values.
I did.
So I'm really interested to learn more about that. All right, so we've talked about what idioms mean, how to use them. But now I'm really curious about this idea you brought up,
Oh, yeah.
that idioms can teach us about different cultures.
They can.
So can you give us some examples?
Sure. So let's think about break a leg.
Okay.
On the surface, it sounds kind of mean, right?
Yeah, like you don't actually want someone to break their leg.
Exactly. But it actually comes from this idea of trying to trick bad luck.
Oh, interesting.
So by saying something bad, you're hoping that the opposite will happen.
So it tells us that this culture is maybe a little superstitious.
Maybe so, yeah.
Okay, what about another one?
How about spill the beans?
Okay.
It's not just about revealing a secret.
Right.
It also suggests that secrets are hard to keep.
Like they can easily slip out.
Exactly. So it makes me wonder if cultures that value privacy have a different way of expressing that idea.
That's a good point.
Like maybe they don't even have an idiom for spilling the beans.
Okay, what about bite off more than you can chew?
Ah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I think it reflects this idea of individual responsibility.
Like you're in charge of your own actions.
Right. You need to know your limits.
But maybe in a culture that's more focused on community,
Mm-hmm.
the idiom might be different.
Yeah, maybe it would be more about helping each other out.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and it makes me think about idioms in other languages.
Oh, tell me more.
Well, in my language, we have an idiom that translates to have a heart of a lion.
Ooh, I like that one.
Yeah, it means to be brave.
Makes sense.
And we also have one that means to build castles in the air.
What does that mean?
It's like saying someone is a dreamer.
Oh, okay.
They have big ideas, but maybe they're not very realistic.
So it's kind of a warning?
Maybe a little bit, but it also acknowledges that it's good to have dreams.
Right, it's a balance.
Exactly.
Well, this has been so fascinating.
I agree.
I feel like I've learned so much about language and culture,
Me too.
and I'm definitely going to pay more attention to idioms now.
I hope so.
I think it'll make me a better communicator.
It will, for sure.
Well, thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
My pleasure.
It's been a real treat.